little boy, I threw away all of my action toys while I became obsessed with Operation. With hearts and minds and certain grounds, you gotta learn to keep a steady hand. And lust began my morbid fascination. Kick out the love, raise the dark matter.
You always got to look back to go forward.
Rabbit,
Michael Peterson,
Michael Peterson,
Tom Curran,
Tom Curran,
Aki.
Kelly Slater.
I would have to say Kelly.
Every generation should get better than the last one. That's the evolution.
Do you wanna wear the self-resigned? Is it in your head or between your sides? And who will be the one who will decide its true location?
I first came to the North Shore in 1972, and there was some professional meets happening here. When I came onto the scene, the guys out here were like gods, Hackman and BK and James Jones and Reno Abalira. I had a real irrepressible energy to try to make that happen for myself.
I used to be really interested in how Rabbit surfed, and when I see his surfing and how I tried to emulate him, I liked his style and I could relate to it.
Tom Curran, to me, he represented everything we had, and then he took it all to another level. He was just all about style, and I just think he could read the ocean just better than anyone. His timing was just impeccable.
When he comes on the screen, to me as a kid, I remember thinking that, he's the absolute master of riding a wave in the whole world. But I think when people watched Tom Curran surf at that time, it was like an artist, It was someone who's starting and finishing something, and every line in between was matched up the right way.
He was a natural extension of Tom Curran. We heard about Kelly Slater coming since he was 11 years of age. He was everything we expected, plus a whole lot more. I think it's really nearly an injustice to try to encapsulate Kelly Slater just in words. He just took the whole of surfing to another level.
Guys like Dane were watching Taj doing air reverses, and they were trying air reverses when they're 14 or whatever, so they started doing air reverses, and now they're doing corrupt flips and passion pops and crazy stuff like that. So I think it's all like kids watching older guys and trying to be like that, and then they become that, and then they just keep progressing, and then it just keeps going up and up.
Kids are wild these days,
There's Groms galore out there. I mean,
Kolohe Andino, I've seen him surf really well. He's got really polished style, like really mature already. And I've seen him punt a few pretty solid air reverses already, so it's always a good sign when you're that young. John's really surfing well. I've seen him thread through a few tubes out the front here that's just like proper, you know, like just pumping through tubes and squeaking out the doggy door just at the right time, so he's definitely got a lot of talent.
They're so good at such a young age. I mean, I remember when John was, I think, 7 or 8, I saw him coming out of the water from like 6 foot day at Aokai. I mean, legitimate 6 foot day, and I'm going, like, I can't believe that kid's out there, you know?
Back then, like, guys were just figuring it out, and like they didn't really have anyone to look up to because they were kind of just starting surfing. But like now we have Kelly, Tom Curran, and we have all those guys to look up to doing just crazy stuff.
It's just amazing to see how far they're coming. You know, back then they invented all the maneuvers, but I think these days people are just perfecting them and then getting them down on a day-to-day basis. Who knows where it's going to go next?
Jump from the book. You're not obliged to swallow anything that you despise. See those unrepenting buzzards want your life. They got no right. As sure as you have eyes, they got no right.
So 5 minutes remaining, 5 minutes. Let's take a check on those standings. So those scores still dropping. It was very close. All those guys didn't need much to move into advancing position.
Going down to these contests lately, it seems like our kids are a lot more hungry. I just hope that they stay that way.
Where is there to go up from, you know, when you're basically a pro surfer at 14 and you've gotten cover shots and you've had double page spreads, and if you want to go on a trip, the mags are going to send their photogs and do an article on you and stuff. You know, I mean, that's the stuff I aspired to at their age that, you know, I started to get when I was about 18 years old. And, you know, I just hope that for them that it's as exciting when they get to be 4, 5, 10 years older. You get so used to something, you need to step away and see it from a different view and understand again why you're doing it and what the enjoyment is around it.
I lost the heat and got 2 interferences. I was winning the heat and then got 2 interferences. And I blew up on some kid and it just made a fool of myself. It changed a lot for me.
My biggest loss in the heat was probably The 6th start at my home beach this year, I kind of came on the beach, I ended up breaking my board on the sand, and the commentator was kind of speaking crap on the mark up in the tower, and I walked up there and punched him and got a bit aggro and out of control, but got fined for it, as you do, and yeah, you know, just kind of learned from there. You know, it's just one of those things that you have to live with and get over.
I like the judges to think that they can't get away with bad judging. So, you know, I've put holes in walls, put holes in, you know, in judging walls, put dents in steel doors where, you know, the judges locked the doors and I couldn't get into the judging tower.
Lost to Andy at Pipeline in 2003, and I was so close to winning. I just basically went into the final day without any confidence. You know, the only thing I could have hoped for was for Andy to make a mistake, but I felt like I was probably going to be the one to make the mistake that day, and there was it wasn't just the surfing, it was a lot of other things that were going on for me, mostly personally, that were difficult, and so when I lost that, it just felt like everything in my world, I sort of felt like surfing was that last thing, my competitive surfing was the last thing was going to make everything okay. Somehow, when you get second in something that you try so hard for, it feels like you got last.
Kelly kicked my ass for the title at Mundaka, and I was just so pissed off. Mick came and hugged me, I was like, what the fuck? I just didn't want him to touch me. Didn't want anyone to around me. Just give me my space, give me a beer, and let me hide in the corner for a little while.
Everyone goes out there to do their best, and then if you stuff up, then that's how I get angry, and I try and just try and take that home, and then when I get home, that's when I explode.
The one that everyone probably remembers is my heat with Kelly at Pipe for the world title. If I won that heat, I win a world title.
That 95 victory was definitely the most challenging one for me on all levels.
I honestly look back on it and I wouldn't change it. You know, like Sonny told me I should have ran Kelly over instead of giving a high five. That really wasn't me. You know, I think at that point it like switched for me. The competitiveness in my body it kind of started to drift away, because I don't think I ever was as competitive as I was then. That was like a weird moment for me, you know, it's like, why would I do that? Like, why would I give Kelly a high five when I'm trying to beat him for a world title, you know? I mean, realistically. Everyone's doing what it takes to beat each other these days. Like, as in the past, they might just rely on their talent, but now it's just like everyone's doing other stuff, like, you know, training a bunch more, working on boards more, and just being really, really on top of things to try and beat each other.
There's so many different things that go into a world title, and it doesn't start, you know, at the first event on tour. It starts years ago. There's my dad who bought my first surfboard, and then, you know, my mum that drove us to every contest, and then my brothers for getting into surfing. For me, I can't really put it down to one person.
Mick used to come to squad training that we do after school, and he always had amazing ability, amazing natural ability, and it just took him a while to just put it all together. But you know, he's a very focused guy, and I believe that, you know, he started his world title campaign about halfway through last year, even in Kelly's year when he was winning his 8th world title. In the second half of that year, Mick pretty much owned it. He came to another level, and I thought, this guy's going to put it together next year.
He's always seemed like he's been on just that next level down, where he's not quite in the title hunt, but he's a potential. He probably learns more than anyone on tour. Mick has been that guy who's gone to all the spots where he probably doesn't feel like he's the best at, and that's where he's put his energy. Mick went to Tahiti and practiced at Chopu for like 2 weeks before the contest even was coming to town, and he just got there and said, you know, I'm going to learn this place, I'm going to figure this out, and I never get better than a 9th place here, and this year I'm gonna.
Every day before the contest, he's out there right when the sun comes up, and he stretches every morning and has a trainer and a physio, and he works really hard at it.
everything he did, his whole world just revolved around winning heats and winning competitions. And I think people that have been as successful in the past have done the same thing. They just, think, live, breathe just competitive surfing and just do everything they can to achieve what they want.
One-track mind's a good thing to have at the right time.
You have a look at Kelly Slater. How did he win 8 world titles? Because he just kept trying to better himself and break his own records.
Our world tour is about to start for 08, and I don't really want to go. I don't really want to be in that environment. I don't want to have to, focus all my energy into figuring out how I'm going to pick the best wave and do the right thing on it with the right board, and against certain guys, how are they going to surf? And, there's just all this energy goes into this one thing. I'm not going to do the whole tour this year, and at this point I feel like I'm struggling to even go to the first contests.
You got to do that so you can go home happy. It's almost like an addiction.
I think equipment has played a huge role in the evolution of performance surfing. There's no doubt about it. These guys are surfing like high tech. They're like Formula One cars.
6'1", 8 1/4, 2 3/16.
5'4", Paisel.
5'11", 18 1/8, 2 1/8.
6'3", 18 5/8, 2 1/2.
6'2", 18 1/2, 2 1/4.
My small board's typically 6'1", about 18 1/4, but I'm sort of on the way down in length and up in width.
Everything's got a lot lighter and thinner.
Boxy tail, but goes into a harder, rounder rail with a bit of rocker, but not too much. I like it pretty flat, so it goes faster.
It's kind of like that to that.
It's just like mostly flat, like the whole board's flat, so it just goes super fast.
Not as much rocker as other guys do. I like the kind of real basic board.
Subtle single concave and quite a bit of rocker.
Slight single concave that goes into a double with a lot of V off the tail so that the board can actually lean over a little easier.
I love boards the way they look without traction, but I can't ride them.
I try to surf without a pad on a small board, and my back foot just goes straight off the back of the board.
You forget how much you really rely on it. My foot's propped right up against that kicktail.
Can't even surf without a tail pad. I can't even stand up.
Where Ock has that one rule, he only waxes one board once, never takes the wax off it.
My Shaper Shape's such a good board that I'm very comfortable waxing up a brand new 7.6 every time.
Wax my board every time. I love waxing new boards, get little beads.
For a while there, I was doing the X's. I saw Joel Parkinson do the X's first, that cross it up, but I found after about a year of doing it, I just quit doing it. It's kind of pointless.
If I'm in a cold water place, I'll wax every single time I touch the water. When I'm in a tropical place, I'll wax my board once a season.
Definitely don't use base coat. For some reason, people used that when I was a kid, but it was the most pointless thing ever.
I throw a bit of wax on the top of my feet before I surf a heat, just so you can kind of rub your feet together as you're paddling out and you get them nice and grippy. That's one thing I always do. I have to do that before a heat.
All white boards always look the best. Always like a little bit of color, that's always good.
I like paint jobs. Lately, I've been doing lots of paint jobs. Try and make it look like my niece did it. They make all these neat little disco fins with flashy colors and vortex concaves and things that I don't know what they do, but
always have to have glass on fins.
Glass on fins for sure.
Glass on fins, always, never fin systems.
Every time I get fin systems, it just has this like delayed response.
Some guys like glass on fins. They won't surf anything other than glass on fins, but I feel like it really limits your board in a lot of ways. The fin system, I can change my fins out. If I want to turn sharper, I'll put on a more, upright fin. If I want to draw my turns out more, I'll put on a little bit more raked fin.
Kelly loves FCS, and he's the best guy in the world. Isn't that weird?
I've had a couple boards that really felt like my kids. Well, I'd been riding Roundtails for years and years, and I got on this squash, and the thing just was far and away the best board. I don't know why. We've tried to copy it since a couple times. Didn't feel quite the same, but this board is just far and away better than anything under my feet. Last few years I've worked on single concaves, so if you can picture that, the bottom of the board's all concave, so the center of the board actually has less rocker in it, and the rails will have quite a bit more rocker in it because that rail's lowered because of the concave. So when you're actually in the turn, that'll sharpen up your turns, make the board fit in the wave a little bit better, and then when you're kind of going straight planing out, you got a little more speed with that flat rocker in the center.
6'2", 18.5, 2 1/4 right now. None of the ones coming out of the machine even work. The one that he hand-shaped just felt like it was attached to my feet. Just enough drive and control. It's just this constant curve. There's not one flat spot in the whole board. In any sort of pockety stuff, it doesn't want to go fast until you put it on rail and then it projects out. Late drops and stuff, it just catches like I've never had a board do before. Like usually I'll be spinning backwards and watching the barrel blow by me and then you take off later and it just clings the face.
Around to help you. Yeah, how you gonna stop yourself when your man stops ringing your bell? You're right between heaven and hell, and you're gonna need the good Lord to help you. How am I gonna make you see that this ain't no way to be? See, you've been getting it all for free. Guess you better get yourself a sugar daddy to help you. spinning top mama, but she's spinning out of control. Yeah, takes sleeping with a snake like you do, rip apart my soul. Yeah, yeah, rip apart my soul, rip apart my soul. Yeah. How you gonna rock yourself to sleep when I give up my midnight creep, girl? How you gonna get that deep when your daddy ain't around here to do it to you? Yeah, how you gonna do it alone, girl? And I don't pick up my phone. I love to give a dog a bone, but I'm not gonna stick around to help you. Yeah.
I've never really won a surf contest. I won like small amateur events when I was a kid, but pretty much since I've been surfing in any events that people care about, I've never won an event. So I guess I associate surfing a contest with losing more than winning, but I'm not all that competitive, and I see people in all these events that definitely have this sort of fire that I don't have, and I mean, I did the WQS last year and I was considering quitting about a quarter of the way through. I guess winning is a nice feeling, but I always feel guilty for the guy I beat, and I don't think that's really like a true competitive sort of heart if that's the way you're feeling. And guys who are like technically the best at surfing are typically kind of boring to me. I'd rather watch Bruce surf. He's probably gonna catch rail, but you know, you could fly a 10-foot air and stick it, and at least it's interesting.
Dane Reynolds, he's my favourite surfer. He's definitely pushing the sport to a whole nother level.
Dane Reynolds and Geordie, those two kids are they're just going mental.
Geordie surfs all the time. He's got a real natural style. I really like the guys that just kind of leave their hands, you know, down and let their body do the talking.
One kid that's been really impressing me lately is Julian Wilson.
He's been really good to watch. He does really big airs, gets a lot of pop out of the lip, and he's got a really solid little stocky stance, and he seems to stomp a lot of big airs.
You know, those three guys, between them, they're kind of, you know, they seem to be setting the standards with the maneuvers, and they each have a different approach. You know, Geordie, obviously a great free surfer and can pretty much pull off any move that guys are doing right now. Dane is a good competitor probably only because he's such a good surfer, not because he really wants it. And then there's Julian, who he's going to ultimately probably become as good or better competitor than either of those guys. They'll probably feed off each other for a long time.
Sun
four guys that influenced me was Martin Potter, Tom Curran, Tom Carroll, and Aki.
Sonny, Potts, Curran, Ock.
Fanning, Andy, Dane, and Jordan.
Andy and Sonny.
Aki, Curran, Dane Gill.
I was heavily influenced by people like Mickey Dora and Phil Edwards and Nat Young.
One wall I just devoted to Kelly, and then I had like a Hoyo part on one, and I had an Oki part, and a Curran, a big Curran part.
And I loved Oki's backhand style, and I love Curran's front side.
I think everyone does that, try to take a little piece of this and that and put it all together for your own recipe.
Whether it's in the contest jersey or whether it's out surfing the best waves in the world, they want to pursue the best they can possibly be.
You have to put all your energy into that one thing in order to make it the best you can.
When you're that dedicated to something and it becomes an obsession, if it's chase down 60-foot waves or if it's just to find that 6-foot perfect barreling sandbar.
Everyone wants to stand in a barrel. It doesn't matter which way you're going, as long as you stand in a barrel.
That's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
If I didn't have them go before me, I wouldn't be who I am today.
All those guys, they have crazy ability. It only comes so often.
They had a real affinity with the ocean. They were great water people. They loved surfing, had this amazing gift to ride a surfboard, read the ocean. They all had the same gift.
If my friends could see me now, driving round just like a film star in a chauffeur-driven jam jar, they would laugh. They would all be saying that it's not really me. They would all be asking who I'm trying to be. If my friends could see me now, looking out my hotel window, dressed in satin strides and two-tone daisy roots. If my friends could see me now, I know they would smile. Sitting in my hotel, hiding from the dramas of this great big world. 7 stories high, looking at the world go by. Sitting in my hotel, thinking about the countryside and sunny days in June. Trying to hide the gloom, sitting in my hotel room. If my friends could see me now, dressing up in my bow tie, prancing around the room like some outrageous bull, they would tell me that I'm just being used. They would ask me what I'm trying to prove. They would see me in my hotel, watching late night shows till morning, writing songs for old time vaudeville reviews. And all my friends would ask me what it's all leading to. Sitting in my hotel, looking through the window at the people on the street. 7 stories high, looking at the world go by. Sitting in my hotel, looking at the world outside. If my friends could see me now, they would try and understand me. They would ask me what on earth I'm trying to prove. And all my friends would ask me what it's all leading to.